good morning. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. The top headlines of this hour. Indian markets open lower for the second straight day. Nifty hovers around 10,650. India wicks surges. And open interest in Hexaware Technologies surges after traders take fresh positions in their futures. And Lanco Infratech may be headed for liquidation after lenders reject the highest offer made by Triveni Earth Movers. And JSW falls the most since March 19 after the company reported an unexpected loss during the March quarter on the back of a one-time loss. And a simpler filing system, a proposed cess on sugar are on the agenda at the GST Council meet today.
All right, we're going to kickstart the show today with some earnings conversation. Hindustan Construction Company share price lost a quarter of its value on Thursday after auditors of the firm raised concerns over its subsidiary Lavasa's ability to continue its operations. Besides that, the company also reported a weak fourth quarter number. To discuss more on this, we are joined by Mr. Ajit Gulabchand, Chairman and MD of the company, and also to take this conversation forward, Nikki Mirchandani from our research team joins us. Nikki, over to you.
Thank you, Navneet. Hello and welcome to Bloomberg Quint. So the first question that I have for you pertains to Lavasa. I'd like to understand, given that the auditors have raised a few concern in the Lavasa Corporation earnings, I'd like to understand what is the status of this company right now, and is the company headed towards bankruptcy?
Yes, I suppose so. Almost all companies in the country seem to be headed there. The basic point is, what the auditors have pointed out is that we have got a variety of plans in order to find a resolution to the Lavasa issue. Lavasa has been stuck for the last few years due to banking decisions that haven't come forth from the banks. After having decided to recast the loan, they did not come forth, all of them. Some of them came forth, the others backed out. As a result, the Lavasa project has been somewhat stalled for the last 3 years. Based on this, a new resolution plans are underway. Some new investors are also shown interest, and those are under discussion. All the auditor has pointed out in the report is that these plans are there, and that there have been losses, which is true. And therefore, because of the non-functioning of the project for 2 or 3 years, that there is a concern. That concern doesn't mean that is what will happen. And that these resolution plans are being discussed with the bankers as well. So as far as this is concerned, this is second time in this last month or so that somebody has written something in some newspaper, or somebody has picked a certain thing out of context, and it has created a certain element of furor in the market. So I think we need to understand this a little more carefully. Yes, Lavasa has been having problems. Its banking solution had been reached. Some of the banks backed out of that solution after having agreed, and therefore it has been stalled for almost 3 years. And based on that, now under the new scheme of the RBI, some resolution plan is underway. 2 or 3 investors have shown keen interest to do that, and that is being considered. And that is also what the auditor has said. To pick a part of it out of context, it has caused all this unnecessary havoc. Does that clarify the situation?
Yes, sir, to an extent it partially answers the question, but I have few more for you. In that case, the company has reported almost net losses which have almost risen 3 times for the financial year. In the event, and the current assets are also exceeding the current liability by more than 2,000 crore. I'd like to understand, in the event that the company has to observe the kind of losses that Lavasa has seen, does that have the kind of appetite required for it?
See, let us put it this way. As far as HCC is concerned, if you can see this year's performance, our turnover for the year has been better than last year. It's been 8% better. Its net profits are also better than last year. And more importantly, from point of view of monies, if you take a look at what we have about, you remember there was a Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs had given an order that construction companies be paid money against bank guarantees, 75% of the money, arbitral awards that they have in their favor. As against that, we have received 1,416 crores. As of today, the total arbitral awards standing in our favor are 4,823 crores. And therefore, during the current year, we received about 1,000 crores of awards, etc. Now these awards will be converted into cash by getting guarantees and getting 75% of that amount, as well as many of them have reached in the final stages in courts where they can be full 100% releases possible. So fundamentally, all the stresses of HCC have come as a result of these monies that the government agencies have not paid us on time, and therefore we have not been able to pay the bankers. This has now started releasing itself, and we expect the situation to dramatically increase over the next 1 year. For the repayment of bank loans, as we have restructured our loans under S4A, and based on that, and with these monies coming in now, we should be in a better position to have the balance sheets cleaned up of excess debt.
Sure. I'd also like to understand a little bit about your views in terms of the article which came back in DNA on a March, somewhere in March around, which said that the company is considering approaching NCLT owing to the challenges it has faced in raising money for project completion. Can you confirm if that's happening?
We have not approached NCLT for any such thing. It is a report that appeared in DNA, which we have already answered to and issued a press release on, which should be with you. So which we have not done any such approach to NCLT.
All right, that helps to clarify the situation to an extent. But coming back to your earnings, I'd like to understand a little bit about your order book position as of date, and also what is the kind of growth that we can look forward in this ongoing financial year.
As far as the order position is concerned, we expect that our order position during the current year will grow. We went a bit slow on the order position because the banking system is in a variety of decision-making throes where they take a lot of time to make decisions, and as a result of which our banking arrangements, which were to be enhanced, had taken some time to come through. They have now come through, and we expect to expand our order book position during the current year. So this is an ongoing position. Despite that, we have a very solid and robust order book, which we will increase over the coming year. However, even now, the present order book allows us to increase our turnover by about 15 to 20% for the coming year.
All right, so in the last quarter, we saw some execution issues playing out on the quarterly earnings of the company, mainly on account of the stretched working capital situation and also the unrest that we saw in Jammu and Kashmir, where 29% of your order book lies. I'd like to understand, are we through that issue right now, and how does the execution capability stand right now?
So basically, basic execution issues exist around the country. We work in that. Some quarters, it is sometimes when there's a large project underway, it hurts us a little more in that quarter, but it gets corrected by the next quarter. As far as Jammu and Kashmir goes, we have just completed Kishan Ganga, the largest hydroelectric project, and which is going to be inaugurated by the Prime Minister very soon. This was an extremely challenging project, which we have done in good time and have been able to complete it, which keeps our deadlines for dealing with the water issues with Pakistan. So we have been able to deliver that in Kashmir despite all the issues that we faced in Kashmir. So there are sometimes problems which affect for a quarter or so, but we have been able to deal with them very well.
All right, Mr. Gulabchand, thank you so much for talking to us. It was indeed a pleasure. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Aki. Of course, the HCC is currently trading up as much as 9.5% after taking severe cuts in yesterday's day of trade. This is, of course, owing to that negative development that we saw. But as far as the markets are concerned, well, as of now, subdued cues coming in, not too much to speak for. But since we are with the earnings right now, let's quickly go across and also address the other earnings that we've had in today's day of trade. That's Nucleus Software, which did see substantial growth coming in the quarter. However, we did see some contraction in margins. To understand the quarter that's gone by and what we can expect from the upcoming financial year, we have Mr. Vishnu Dusad, Managing Director of the company. Mr. Dusad, good morning and thanks for joining us. Can you take us through the reasons behind, despite the fact that we've seen such robust growth in revenues, there is a little bit of contraction coming in margins on a sequential basis. What's going on in this quarter? And if you could tell us about all the factors that you attribute to the top line and the bottom line in Q4.
Yeah, I think first of all I'd like to talk about the top line. Our products, as we have been maintaining, are getting good acceptance in the market, and that's how we are able to win a large number of customers, and our product continues to be the best selling product certainly in India and overseas as well. And thanks to that, we've been able to clock highest ever quarterly revenue of 111 crores. And coming to the bottom line, I think we have, for the first time in the history of the company, we have crossed 400 crores as the bottom line. And as a one-time appreciation, we have provided for some expenses, and that is how the margins have come down.
Okay, sir. So in that case, are we expecting margins to be lumpy? And if you could also give us an idea about what we can expect in the upcoming financial year. So from what I understand, that in FY17, you had carried out about 43 implementations of digital transformation. What is that number in FY18, and what can we expect for FY19?
I think the number for FY18 would be in the similar range. Looking at number of digital transformations in the coming year, we do have a number which is substantially higher than these two numbers of last year and last to last year. And our teams are innovating on an ongoing basis and helping more and more customers understand the implications of digitization, and that's how we are looking at much broader impact on digitization of our much broader impact of digitization for our customers' businesses.
All right, so a final question from my end. Your India business continues to show robust growth, specifically in the top line. What can we expect from the upcoming financial year? Can we expect this growth to be just as robust? And if you could also tell us a little more about the pipeline that you're looking into as we move into the next couple of quarters.
I think the growth in Indian business, we do hope that it will continue to grow in the similar manner, and likewise we are looking at better growth in other markets as well. When it comes to pipeline, I think we have a reasonable pipeline where we are in the process of rolling out a number of orders that we had bagged in the last quarter.
Okay, Mr. Dusad, we'll leave it at that. Thanks for joining us and giving us an update on the quarter as well as the outlook on the upcoming financial year. That's the management of Nucleus Software. Of course, we've seen earnings come through. For now, the stocks are under a little bit of a pressure, but well, it's largely systemic because the entire IT pack is facing some amount of downticks in today's day of trade. But what else are we tracking today's day of trade, Navneet?
Well, we had to address those earnings conversation, full tilt towards now what's happening in the futures and options market. Before I get our guest on the show who've been really patient with us today, here's a reminder for you all. If you have any queries in the futures and options market, you can pick up your phone now. Call us on 022-4540-4141. You can also write to us on Twitter, Facebook, and for the ones watching us on YouTube, you can write your queries there. Just don't forget to put that hashtag AskPQ. Let's quickly get our F&O experts then. Bhavin, Mehta of Dolat Capital and Thakkar of Anand, Rathi are here with us. Good morning to both of you gentlemen, and thanks a lot for being patient with us today. Bhavin, if I could come to you, what's the call on Nifty or Bank Nifty? Bank Nifty has actually been outperforming Nifty in the last few sessions. There is some bit of weakness that now persists in the market. We've seen Nifty now inching very closer. In fact, it's trading below the mark of 10,650. Would you take any trade here?
The Bank Nifty is at very crucial point as of now. We have seen good amount of reversal coming from this particular level of 25,700 to 25,750 earlier. So our view is that one can probably take a long call on Bank Nifty 25,600 put, which is currently quoting around level of 135. This is for a weekly expiry. For a target price of close to about 190. The stop loss should be placed at 100. Currently, it's trading somewhere in the range of 132 to 135. So, we believe that we may see some amount of retracement. Even yesterday, Bank Nifty was one index which was actually leading the markets higher in the second half, sustaining at a higher levels. So, my view is that probably some amount of reversal can be due on Bank Nifty in very short period of time.
Okay, Jay, good morning to you as well. How are you viewing trade on the indices, and what would you recommend playing in terms of options?
Hi, good morning to both of you. I would say that Nifty seems to be again, to be trading within a range like it was, a week before. I would say post we got a breakout above 10,650. So I think now it's back into the range of 10,600 to 10,800 at least for a week or so. I think till 10,600 levels on the lower side are unbroken. Overall bias will remain sideways, but then we would continue to see stock specific move within this range. Mostly what happens is in the sideways consolidation, you see more of the stocks going down, the advanced decline ratio correcting, and so one has to be really quite stock specific, and one can have both long and short position. As far as index is concerned, I think since it has slipped towards the lower end of the range, a stop loss below 10,600 on a closing basis should be a good idea and a good risk reward. So one can buy this targeting around say 10,750 only, because 800 is the higher end of the range.
Okay,
as far as Bank Nifty is concerned, the Bank Nifty is clearly broken out above its previous swing resistance of 25,450, and I think till 25,450 levels unbroken, overall bias remains positive for Bank Nifty. We are targeting around 25,850, 900 on the upside.
Well, the premium on Bank Nifty futures in the last few days has been inching higher. Let's see how that pans out in coming trading sessions, but for the time being, let's get you some individual stock future ideas also going from our experts. Bhavin, I'll come to you first. What are you recommending in trade?
Okay, recommending short on LIC Housing Finance, which is currently quoting around level of 526, expecting the stock to move closer towards level of 500 to 505. Stop loss for all short positions should be placed around level of 540. The second trade idea would be to go long on NCC. We have seen good amount of positive momentum in this particular counter in today's trade. I believe that stock is on its way closer to level of 138, while the initial recommendation was to go long with stop loss of 128. The way stock has behaved today, one can update the stop loss to close to about 130 and continue to ride the positive momentum, bullish on NCC in particular.
Okay, some interesting calls coming in from Jay as well. He has two long calls and one short call. Jay, can you take us through your, picks for the day as well?
Sure. See, Ashok Leyland is a good buy because post some consolidation, I think the stock is now likely to reach higher. We have been seeing good long build-up happening in this stock, and month on month we have been seeing long rollovers also happening in this stock. I think on the upside, once it takes off the levels of around say 1,000 166.50, it will zoom towards the short-term target of 175. So one can buy this, and the stop loss is quite near from the current market price. The risk here is also positive. One can place the stop loss at 157 and go long on Ashok Leyland. IRB Infra, after yesterday's result reaction, I think has recovered quite well from the lower. And in this series, we have seen a good long build-up happening in IRB, a straight move coming on the upside, good reversal in its momentum indicators. The stock has been forming a good high bottom on the weekly charts as well. So both technically and from the point of view of derivatives, I think, in fact, even if some shorts are getting added here, I think they will be forced to cover, as the management has also come out with a good amount of clarity, and the reversal from the lower end has been quite significant. So one can buy IRB Infra targeting around 290 in the short term. The stop loss of 257. I've got one sell recommendation on Ajanta Pharma post results. We have been seeing the stock falling, forming low top, slow bottom, with a clear sell in its indicators from the zero reference line. Good amount of short are also getting built up on Ajanta Pharma, and one can target around 1150 in the short term. The stop loss of 1290.
Okay, so those are the trading strategies coming in from our technical experts. Let's switch focus and address some viewer queries now on the show. Our first query comes in on YouTube. Chetan writes to us, he wants a view on L&T's 1,420 call strike, which he's purchased at a premium of almost 30 rupees, and he wants to know if he should hold on to this position of his. And I think the current premium on the 1420 call strike is somewhere about 30 or thereabouts. If you could just pull up that, and it is out of the money call strike, because the stock currently trades around the levels of 1378. Bhavin, what would you advise Chetan to do? Should he hold on to his call strike of 1420 of L&T?
My view will be to exit this particular call. Not very bullish. The stock is extremely ranged, and the way it has behaved over last 2-3 trading session, I think there is high probability that stock will be stuck between level of 1410 on the upside. 1410 to 1420 is very heavy resistance zone as of now. At the same time, on downside, if it breaks below 1360, he should definitely exit from the position. So that is my call for this particular position.
All right, so that's the view coming in on L&T, and well, we move across to the next query that comes to us. It's from Hari Strikes, and this one is on HCC. Well, he has a call option, and but he hasn't mentioned what call option it is, but he wants to know if it is advisable to exit right now. So let's just take a look at where the HCC futures are currently trading at. It's up, the underlying is up 8% right now, and we have to remember this is on the backdrop that we saw a cut of 25% in yesterday's day of trade. And let's take a look at what the futures are doing as well currently. Do remember, while the stock was under severe pressure yesterday, there was very little change in open interest. But today, there is an uptick of around 7.2%, with the underlying also moving up by as much as 8%. So Jai, if I can take this question to you, what would you do with HCC? Would you carry out any position, or would you avoid it, considering the sharp moves it has seen over the past 2-3 days?
This stock I generally don't track, and it's out of my radar, so I would not like to comment. These kind of stocks which are fundamentally the company which has a problem, I would like to generally ignore those kind of stocks.
Okay, that's the view coming in on HCC. We did interacted with the management a while back. Some bit of respite seen after yesterday's fall. Let me take Mr. C.A. Akshay's query. He writes to us on Twitter. He's holding IRB Infra 2 lot. The strikes are 280 and 285. Both of them are called strike of May expiry. But he's also asking what to do with his position if a stock is in F&O ban. Yes, you're right, Akshay. The stock of IRB Infra has been in the ban period for the last 3 trading session. If you have an existing position, Akshay, you can definitely go ahead and unwind. When the stock enters into the F&O ban, you cannot take a fresh position and roll that over. If you do that, you have to pay a penalty to your broker, which goes to the exchanges. But you can always do an intraday trade if a stock is in F&O ban. So I'm going to take your query to Bhavin. Bhavin, what is the view coming in for IRB Infra if somebody is holding called strike of 280 and 285? Both of them are out of the money strikes.
One should continue to hold this particular position. IRB Infra looks extremely positive on the charts. Unfortunately, it is not able to break above level of 285 for quite some time now. However, I believe that in short term, if it is able to break past that level of 285, we will see good amount of momentum. So he can keep a stop loss, as Jay has already pointed out, he can keep a stop loss of 258 and continue to ride the position. Overall view continues to remain positive even from derivatives point of view.
Okay, we have yet another query coming in from our regulars on YouTube from Chetan, and he asks, what should he do with his Siemens 1080 call? Should he hold? Well, he hasn't mentioned the premium at which he has bought the particular call, but we're looking at a drop of 11 points right now at around 18. So I suspect if he had bought the call yesterday, he's looking at a potential loss. If he's bought today, then, well, we just have to ask our experts as to what he can do with his position. Jay, what's your view on Siemens? Would you recommend any position here, and if the gentleman's already in the position, would you recommend that he book his losses right now?
I think, see, overall, this stock has, in fact, post its results, it has seen a significant breakdown from its previous support levels. I would say that it has broken previous swing resistances on the weekly and the monthly charts, which is quite shocking as well, because I would say that this stock was reversing well from its lower end, and in fact I would say that it has broken its entire range on the lower side. The final hope for this stock can be, say, 970 on the lower side, the lows which were made in February 2016. 970 should be the ultimate stop loss for this, because see, this stock has been trading within the range of, say, 1550 on the upside to 970 since 2015 August. So it's more than 2-3 years now that the stock is trading within this range. Now, if that range gets broken on the lower side, I would say that one can see further pain. But now, since it is approaching the lower end of the range, which has been since past 3 years almost now, selling at the lower end of the range shouldn't be an idea. If it breaks that range, then I think it's a selling signal. So 970 should be the stop loss one can carry the long position, keeping a strict SL of, say, 970, maybe on a closing basis.
Okay, that's the view coming in on Siemens. Before we wrap the show, just want to address few stocks. PC Jewelers has risen nearly 15 to 16% in trade, so some respite. Remember, that's the other stock which is in the F&O ban. L&T Finance Holdings has reacted quite positively to its numbers today, so that's also up almost 4%. We were talking about Marico and Indian Open, how the copra prices have not augured well in the past, but with the prices now tapering off, maybe Marico could do well from the current levels. Well, with that, I would like to thank both our guests. Thank you very much, Jay and Bhavin, for joining us today, and especially for being patient with us. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the F&O Show. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quinn for more news and updates.